Hey everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Business with me, Suzette. And tonight I have a very special one. They're all special, but this one is extremely special. Tonight joining me will be Colleen Blake Miller. She is a psychotherapist and she's the owner of Blake Miller Therapy. So we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about all things psychotherapy here. So give me a second here. We're going to join her in. Guys, while she's joining us, I wanted to talk about the event. So the ticket sales haven't ended, but it's going to be this Saturday. I'm so excited to meet a lot of you in person. So, hey, Colleen, how are you?
Hey, Sue, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good, good. Thank you so much for having me. For you coming onto my show today.
Thank you for having me.
I feel like I'm on your show. I'm so excited to speak to you. I love watching your videos, very informative. So, Colleen, I want to get started right away. Okay,
Yes,
so
let's dive in.
tell me, introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Colleen. I am a registered psychotherapist. I work in Brampton, Ontario. But generally, because of COVID now with the virtual sessions, I can work with folks all over Ontario. And I really support folks who are navigating anxiety, depression, issues around self-worth, and I support them and help them to learn how to smash limiting beliefs so they can live amazing lives.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much. So kind of tell me, how did you get into that? So psychotherapy, that's really a lot of deep stuff. That's getting into people's minds, understanding their emotion, understanding why they feel the way they feel. So what prompted you to go down that path and say, you know what, I want to go down psychotherapy and help people?
Yeah. So I have sort of always been like a helper at heart, and found as I was younger, in my younger years into adolescence, that I happened to be that friend that a lot of friends would come to with the issues and the dramas and those kinds of things. And so I don't know, from a young age, I found myself, supporting people that way. And then my passion and desire to understand how relationships work and how, like why we do some of the things that we do. And, that kind of stuff has just continued to lead me down this path and give me this passion to try to support people as they figure themselves out and just figure out how to live great lives.
Okay, thank you. So tell me more about, so I'm obviously not about any client specifically, but what are some common, issues do you find that people have when it comes to feelings, the lack of feeling self-worth or feeling depressed and anxiety? Like, is there any common traits do you notice? I know each case would be different, but is there anything common grounds that you notice that is a type of trend across the board with those things?
Yes, absolutely. The way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we make sense of the things that we have gone through, that greatly impacts our mood, that greatly impacts our mental health, that greatly impacts our sense of self. It's very important for us to be paying attention to the things that we are saying to ourselves, the thoughts that we're allowing to stay in our minds, because they have the ability to fuel our anxiety, fuel depressive moods, to decrease our sense of self, or it has the ability to bring calm and peace into our lives. The way that we're talking to ourselves, when it's empowered, when it's surrounded, and it's kind of centered in truth, then it can help us to kind of be grounded and have a better sense of who we really are and what we are really capable of doing and being. So that's always the place that I'm curious about with clients, and I invite them into that curiosity. You just said what you said, like, well, I wonder why you said that.
Why you said that.
Talk about that.
Yeah. A lot of times people don't understand why they are the way they are, right? I know for me, speaking about myself, I for a very long time, I had a sister who passed away. She was 33 at the time, and I thought I was not over, but I thought I had dealt with it, and I didn't. And for years upon years upon years, I I was dealing with depression and I didn't recognize it. People like, I remember one time my doctor, I said, I can't sleep at night. I'm up, and he's like, are you depressed? And I said, depressed? No, like, no, I have a good job. I have a family. And I told myself that I had dealt with it. And then I eventually got a therapist, and, you guys get deep. Anything from your past? I mean, yeah, things happen, but like you deal with them. I had a sister pass away, and then she's like, okay, well, we're going to with her. And then she hit it. Like, I was trying to like quickly just kind of go over it and not talk about it. And she caught it because you guys are good. She caught it. And then I realized that all the things that used to be triggers for me that I didn't realize were actual triggers had to go back to not dealing with that, right? And so, like you said, things that happen in your past, if you don't deal with it or address it, I should say, because it's not about forgetting it or getting over it. It's about recognizing that, okay, there's certain triggers that trigger you to feel this feeling that's associated with this experience. And then if you don't, it manifests itself, and now you just become a depressed person, and an angry person, a person full of anxiety. So guys, if you're joining this call on this live right now, I want to encourage you, if you have any common traits or anything that you notice that you're always feeling sad, you're always feeling angry, talk to a therapist. Okay, Colleen's here. Okay, we're gonna get all her information shortly. But it's I find that even for me, a lot of times in the Black community, it's not something that we embrace talking about. And so even for the longest time, when I spoke to my doctor over the years kept telling me, you sure? And I'm like, no. And it was difficult for me to go and seek a therapist, right? Because, growing up, it's not something that we talk about commonly. And so it just makes it that much more challenging to actually want to talk to a therapist about it. So do you find that do people come to you willingly, or do they come because someone said so and now they're kind of like, okay, let me talk to her? But do you find that people are reluctant in the beginning? I know I was. I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't know why I'm here. I'm just doing it because my doctor said so, until I realized that, okay, I need to be here.
Yeah. I think that especially these days, more folks are open. And we're talking more about mental health. We're talking more about mental illness. We're normalizing the fact that mental health, we all have it, and we all need to be working on maintaining good mental health. We are all impacted by mental illness, whether it's personally or some person connected to us. But the more that we're talking about it is the more that we're normalizing this process of going to a professional to talk about your stuff. Most of the people that come to me come because they recognize that something's not working the way that they would like it to be working. Life doesn't look the way that they want it to or expected it to. And so there is a desire, but it's still uncomfortable. Even when you're pursuing it because you need it, it's still it can be uncomfortable if it's new. But once you connect with the right therapist, then it's something that you look forward to. It's something that there will be tears maybe, but there'll be laughter too. There'll be things that you maybe you're gonna sort of grieve, but there will be things that you're celebrating as well in the process. So clearly I'm an advocate for therapy.
And of course,
and, I feel
naturally,
like it's for everyone. It's not just for those that are depressed or those that have sort of a diagnosed mental illness. We can all benefit from carving out a space that's safe, that's just for us to dig into the stuff, because life is heavy.
It's very heavy. I have to tie this into business, of course. With business owners, I encourage a lot of my clients that, okay, do you feel overwhelmed, right? And sometimes even, again, recognizing that people don't always recognize that they're overwhelmed, right? It's like, no, I don't feel, I sleep for 4 hours, but I get up and I do it every day and I get things done. It's like, okay, well, how many hours do you sleep for the night? How are you in your relationship? How's that going? How's your relationship with your kids? And sometimes we become so dismissive and we think it's okay, but really it's not okay. So I think that the first step is like recognizing, like you said, that you need the help before it even gets to something bigger, right? Because being overwhelmed can now lead to depression, to anxiety, because now you feel that you can't manage everything, right? So, and I'm not, guys, I'm not a professional at all. I'm speaking from my own experience. That's the path I went down, because I was like, nope, I get it done. I only need 4 hours sleep and I'm good. There was no me time. It was just going until, my body was just like, you're not going anymore. You need to stop. And then, that's when you experience burnout and overwhelm. And then it goes to depression. And then you're like, start questioning, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing it right? Should I be doing this? And then you fall into the slope, which is hard to come out of, right? So I think that recognizing beforehand, if you can, that, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need to get some type of help. I think it makes a huge difference. Like now going through what I went through already, I can now recognize and say, okay, so that you need to stop a little bit, ask for help. If it's outsourcing some of the work or just hand it off to somebody, delegating it. It's a common thing in the business owner life, especially if you are, you're working and you still have your business on the side. And you're parents, and now you're a wife and you're a husband. There's so many different hats we wear, and it's hard to juggle, So in terms of, let's talk about depression, right? If someone is feeling depressed, what are some common things? I know obviously everyone's different, but what are some common things that someone can do to kind of get out of depression, or to at least better it a little bit?
Well, let's go back a bit, because one of the things that I wanted to point out, you did a good job as far as naming some of the, signs, some of the things you want to be looking out for, as far as acknowledging and considering, hey, I could be experiencing depression. There, some of the things that you are doing or aren't doing could negatively impact your mental health. And it could lead to you experiencing a depressive episode. But then there are sometimes because remember, mental illness, it's a physiological thing. Sometimes it isn't about what you are doing or not doing. Sometimes it's actually just something in your chemical makeup, and you want to just be aware of that. So we can't have no shame. We don't want to, kind of throw it on ourselves or each other, like you're not taking good care of yourself, that's why you're depressed. That may actually not be the case. You could be doing a really great job as far as prioritizing self-care and taking good care of yourself physically and all this kind of stuff, and still be navigating a mental. So we just want to make sure of that. Now back to the question of things that people can do. The very first thing you want to do, if you think that you are navigating a mental illness or your mental health is declining, you want to talk to your doctor. Number one, yes, there's so many assessments you can do online. There's, articles you can read. There's, TikToks you can watch and all this kind of stuff. But you want to speak to your medical doctor, hopefully one that has knows your family history, knows your history, and then they are going to do some kind of a depression assessment with you. And because it's possible that you are navigating depression, for example. It's possible that you could have low iron. You know what I'm saying? So you want to cover all of the bases. Next, it's going to be important that you figure out what treatment you are going to sort of lean into. So studies show that for severe depression, it could be a combination of medication and talk therapy. For some people, talk therapy alone is sort of a good enough treatment. And then you enter into the world of psychotherapy, and we could spend all night talking about that, but I know we're not talking about that. We want to talk about business. So that's, a couple of things that folks can do. Talk to your physician, kind of get clear on what's going on, and explore what treatment options there are available for you, and be open to talking with a professional about what's going on with you.
I think that's super important. I am guilty of that, of jumping on Google and trying to Googling, symptoms, and then 50 things comes up and you're like, oh my goodness, am I, like you said, is it low iron? Oh my God, am I dying? Is it is depression? Which one? And that's the problem with Google, right? It's so easily accessible, and this our
Mhm.
generation, we want answers right away, right? Like we don't want to wait for next week Tuesday's appointment, and so we try to self-diagnose, which is not good, guys. It's not good. So coming
Mhm.
from me, my doctor once, I did it a couple of times, and my doctor's like, Google's not a doctor. I go, no, yeah, I know, I just.
We're all
Because
guilty. We're all
yeah, we're all
guilty.
guilty.
We're
I
all
know.
guilty.
And the doctor said to me, it's these things. Like, here's the difference between X, Y, and Z. And I don't think that it's these things. I think it's that. So that's very important. Thank you for sharing that. Go to the
Yes.
doctor first. And I also think that don't be ashamed of it, right? It's, a lot of us experience it more than we recognize, more than we want to admit. It's not something to be ashamed of, right? So that's good. Thank you. Let's talk about anxiety. That's another very common trait in a lot of people, especially business owners. Again, with a lot of things on the move. What are some common causes of anxiety,
Mhm.
generally speaking?
So again, there could be the physiological aspect of things that are impacting your mental illness. Uh, for me, when I begin working with someone navigating anxiety, um, I want to help them understand what they are saying, what thoughts are consuming their minds.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Anxiety tends to pull people out of the present and throw them into the future. You're worrying
Mm-hmm.
about things that may happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're predicting what could be, and you are leaning towards the negative, like worst
Mm-hmm.
case scenarios at
Mm-hmm.
times. And so, as far as navigating anxiety, you're going to want to work on being present. Things like mindfulness, which basically
Mm-hmm.
is, what's happening in this moment right
Mm-hmm.
now. Uh, I want to be careful to not make someone think that by just hearing what I'm saying and trying it on their own, they should be able to navigate their anxiety on, like, just by that. You need to figure out what, the actual diagnosis is. You need
Mm-hmm.
to be connecting with a professional who has skills and expertise around supporting folks who have anxiety, and figure out what tools will work for you
Mm-hmm.
and will support you as you navigate through. So anxiety is sort of a hot topic now, because with
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
there's been quite a surge in people talking about anxiety and reporting feelings of anxiety. And so for some people, anxiety could look like an absolute panic attack, and then to someone else it could be like this constant restlessness that they feel within themselves. So we don't want to throw sort of options out and think it's for everyone. It's really a
Mm-hmm.
unique thing that
Mm-hmm.
you want to prioritize looking into, and making yourself, your health, your wellness a priority, and something that you kind of are looking after every single day.
Yeah, super important. You mentioned panic attack. So is there a textbook difference between panic attack and anxiety? Because like you said, a lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm having an anxiety attack. I'm having a panic attack." Is there, like, what's that clear difference between the two, if there's one?
Between anxiety and a panic attack,
Yeah.
so a panic attack, again, I want to sort of throw it out there, is something that you are sort of going to be reporting on. It could look different for each
Okay.
for each
Oh,
person.
okay.
Anxiety is someone who suffers and struggles with panic attacks can also be struggling with anxiety.
Oh, I
Panic
see.
attacks not everyone with anxiety has panic attacks. But generally speaking, if you're navigating like consistent panic attacks, then you may likely have anxiety that you are navigating. But again, go to your doctor. Do my time limit for being on it, IG came up, so I was trying to lock me up.
I have it on my too. Yeah.
So you want to go to your doctor.
5 minutes, IG, please.
Listen, you want to go to your doctor. You want to do a thorough assessment. You want to get connected with a practitioner who can walk you through and educate you on all of what it is that you are navigating. One of the things that I will say we have to be careful about is there is a lot of information accessible on social media and online, and let's be honest, there's a lot of people talking about mental health that do not have expertise in the area. Maybe they're talking from their lived experience, which is fine for them, but be careful whose instructions, advice you're taking. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to be careful about that. So be sure that you're speaking to someone who understands you and who has expertise and that can support you along the journey and help you with a good, solid plan.
Yeah. So guys, there's a common trait here. If you notice, Colleen's mentioning, go to the doctor, and everything you're speaking to, Colleen, I'm pretty sure you obviously see, and that's why you're speaking to it. Because there's a lady I follow online, and she talks about ADHD, and at one point I was like, I must have it, because similar things that she's experienced, and she's not proclaiming to be a doctor, but she talks about her experiences with ADHD and how she deals with it. And I remember one day she said something and I resonated with it. I'm like, oh my God, I have ADHD. And I told everybody. My friend's like, did the doctor tell you that? I go, no, but this lady online. She goes, who's this lady online? I'm like, this lady, she has a lot of followers and she has ADHD.
She has
and a lot of things. So that makes her qualified. Certified. And I'm so good. Everything you're talking about, that's me. I am that person. She is me. And my friend's like, what? Who? This lady had? I said, yeah, but she talks about a lot of them. I look at her video. She goes, yeah, but I mean, that could be 20 other things. My friend is a lawyer, so she's very like, no, you need facts. I'm like, but these are facts. So guys, from a professional, okay, Colleen here is telling us she's a psychotherapist. She's saying over and over, go to a doctor. Don't self-diagnose. Don't, because you can be essentially taking on someone else's path that's not a good fit for you. It's not the actual right diagnosis for you. So, super important, guys. I've done it and I've never been right yet, not once. Listen to Colleen.
We are all guilty.
Again, I think it's accessibility, right? Because we're more prone to be on Instagram than we are to Google something. Even Google's not a good idea, but even to like read an actual article to say, okay,
article
more detailed, exactly, versus to call your doctor now to talk about it, right? It's easier to jump on and get access to that, right? So a lot of us are turning these socialites into doctors, and they're not. Right. So Colleen, kind of tell me. So one other question: How would you go about telling someone? So if I'm aware of a friend or someone that needs therapy, right? So kind
according to you,
according to me, the almost doctor, okay. But someone, I guess it can go both ways, because I know one person in particular has some sort of anger issue, and like simple things. Well, it seems simple to me, but like you said, it could be something from the past. There's triggers. How would you go about telling someone who doesn't necessarily see the need of speaking to someone or going to the doctor? So even before it even gets to a psychotherapist, right? Like you're saying, there's a process to it. You don't just jump and say, hey, I want to see a psychotherapist. No one really gets up and says that. There's a process to it. How do you address someone who doesn't necessarily see themselves or see that they need a professional assistance to go and get help?
Yeah. Okay. So let's go back to something that you had said. So actually, you could get up today and say, I think I need to talk to a psychotherapist and self-refer. You can.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Psychotherapists, generally speaking, you are able to self-refer. Now, if you need to see a psychiatrist, okay, so that's a medical doctor whose specialty is psychiatry, then you would need to get a referral from your family doctor. Psychiatrists are the practitioners who would, if your family doctor is unable to, they don't feel confident or they don't have that capacity, if it's out of their like wheelhouse, they will send you to a psychiatrist to figure out what mental illness you like to diagnose, specifically what you're navigating. So for a psychotherapist, so you could literally just say, I'm unsatisfied with my life. I need somebody to talk to, and you can, go online. Psychology Today is a really great resource for finding psychologists and psychotherapists, and you can, do a telephone consult with psychotherapist, and if it's a good fit for you, you can begin. And I would say to anyone, if that's the route that you want to go to, absolutely. But now when you're trying to figure out the specifics of what is ailing you, if you're wondering, am I depressed? Is this anxiety? These kinds of things, then you need to connect with your family doctor, because there could be other things going on, and psychotherapists don't have the ability to diagnose. So it's your family doctor. Some psychologists, I believe, are able to diagnose certain mental health concerns, and your psychiatrist. So family doctor, psychiatrist, and for some psychologists can
okay. You guys, you see, you're learning every time I come on these lives. I'm always learning something new. So I guess that's the main difference you're saying is between a psychotherapist and a psychiatrist, so that they can medically diagnose you and then give any medication if need be, whereas you're more exploring the feelings of why the person's feeling that way. So you can actually go, okay, I learned something new today, I didn't know. So you can actually book an appointment directly with you. You don't need a referral for a doctor.
You just need to say to yourself, I need to talk to somebody. And then we'll, most psychotherapists have some kind of an intake form where you begin to sort of talk about what the areas of concern are that you want to be looking at, and then together you would come up with like a therapeutic plan and those kinds of things. And if you need to be going to your doctor, going to a psychiatrist, your psychotherapist will help you figure all of those pieces out to help you figure, out a plan of action.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that, guys. You can go directly to Colleen. She's going to give all her information. Okay. She's ready and willing to help you out. Okay, thank you so much for clarifying that. My bad. I thought you needed a prescription for that. Okay, so how do you, so kind of back to my question, how do you go about telling someone that, okay, I think you need to speak to someone. I think you need Colleen in your life. How do you go about telling someone that who's not necessarily open to recognizing that they actually are having some of these common emotional reaction to things?
I think, just like you said it, Sue, being honest with your friend or your colleague and letting them know, I'm concerned. I'm concerned for you. I feel like, some of the things you're saying, bring back their words. Okay. Don't tell them about themselves. Bring back their words. Let's say they're like, I can't sleep. I'm so fed up. I just don't know what to do. You bring it back. So I hear you saying you're fed up. I hear you saying you don't know what to do. I'm worried about you. I wonder if it wouldn't be helpful for you. Would you like me to call with you? Would you like me to go with you? Would you like me to take you? The best way that you can encourage people around you to take care of their mental health is by taking care of your mental health in front of them. Talking to them about your experience in therapy if you have gone down that route. The other thing too is understand that for some people, it takes a bit of time for them to be ready to do this work. It's intimidating to talk about your stuff to an absolute stranger. So don't act like, oh, come on, you should just do it. It is a huge, for some people, it is a huge like mountain that they've got to, climb. So as a loving, supportive friend, be a loving, supportive friend, and continue to kind of nudge them along and encourage them along, and talk to them about your journey, and let them see the benefits of you taking care of your mental health. Let them see your mindset shifting, your outlook, perspective, the way that you're taking care of yourself. Let them see that in you. That's the best way to kind of sell something to someone, is showing them. If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. It does. Thank you for sharing that, because I have a few people on the list that I would like to I would like to refer over, to say that, okay, you speak to someone. So thank you. So kind of going along that same line, I think I have an idea of what you're going to say, because you've been very consistent with referring to professional. But a lot of times, myself included, going through my journey, before I actually decided to get a therapist, at one point I had some real issues.
Nice.
And the funny thing you mentioned, not funny, ironic thing, is that it is hard to make that step to get into the door, to sit down and actually talk to a complete stranger. But when you do, oh my goodness, I realize I'm like, I need two. What is that enough? Honestly, I'm like, this is too much. And I could, it opens up, it takes off so much a load off of you. So such a huge load comes off. And guys, I encourage therapy 100%. Okay, 100%. So one of the things that I noticed in my own journey is that I went to family and friends first, and I would vent and I would ask, what do you think I should do? How, what should I? And I know the repercussions of doing that. I definitely know, but I want you to talk about that, because a lot of times people tend to go to people that they know, their friends, their parents, for advice. And a lot of times most times it does not really work in your favor. So just explore some of the challenges with going to family and friends who are not professional, to talk about some issues that you might be having in your personal life versus going to a professional. Because it's easier, like you said, a comfort level, right? It's easier for me to call my friend that I speak to every day to tell her about issues that or ways that I'm feeling, versus to go and seek a therapist, because like you said, you have to find a therapist that's suitable for you, one you're comfortable with, one that you feel like
one with availability. Yep.
One with availability. Whoa. Okay, I have to wait a month. So speak to that a little bit and say, kind of outline some of the reasons why you should kind of not necessarily bypass, but bypass family and friends and go to an actual professional when you're having a lot of common issues.
Well, they have a saying that says it takes a village to raise a child. I happen to think it takes a village just to make it through this thing called like life. Okay. Yeah. And so in your village, you do need to have supportive families, supportive friends, professionals, coaches, the mentors, all of the things. In different seasons of your life, you will lean more on, different, individuals. We all have the experience, I think, of going to the family or going to the friend that you already know what they're going to say. When I have problem A and I want to vent about my spouse, for example, I know who's going to put me in check and say, Colleen, stop the nonsense. And I know the friend that's going to be like, girl, oh my,
I told you again. Yeah.
Okay. And so, we have to be honest with ourselves. It's not going to be like an objective view. They are on your side. Your family member is on your side. They may or may not feel comfortable calling you out on your stuff. Now, your therapist isn't there to call you out on your stuff. Your therapist is an objective, voice that's here to help you carry your stuff and ask you questions that will help you to call yourself out on your stuff, that will help you to equip yourself with the tools so that you know how to navigate the challenges that we all face in life. You know, your family and friends, there's only so much that you can put on them as well. You'll burn you'll burn them out, and then are you okay?
I'm okay. Sorry.
You'll burn them out, and then you will feel isolated when they stop answering your phone calls. So
Excuse me, sorry.
yeah, those are some ideas around the benefits of choosing a professional who is trained and has the capacity to handle anything you bring them. And if for some reason they cannot, they're ethically bound to support you find someone who can.
Yeah, I like that. I love it. I knew you would be able to explain it way better than I could. There's basically a bias, like you said. Excuse me.
Yeah.
There's a bias to when you go to friends, right? Depending on the answer that you want, you know, like you said, to call this friend and call that friend, whether you want to admit it or not. So I really appreciate you being honest with that answer. In closing, so kind of walk us through what are your processes, right? So someone comes to you, kind of walk through the experience with you, and how do a client would go about an experience with you?
So generally people will find me either like through social media. They might go to the link in my bio, and you know, it takes them to my website, and then on my website I pretty much try to answer I answer frequently asked questions so that people get a sense of who I am, my philosophy, all that kind of stuff. It has my prices and all that good stuff. And then there's a video of me talking, so people feel like I could see myself talking to this person, or no, she's not the one. And then there's the book now button, and then people just click the book now. And it starts off with a telephone consult, and you know, it's a 15-minute just chat where they share with me what it is that they are wanting to work on together. They ask me all the questions that they have within 15 minutes
There you go.
of me, and in terms of figuring out if I'm a good fit for them. And if for some reason I'm not the best fit, or if, you know, there isn't availability or whatever, then I support them with a couple of referrals for colleagues of mine who I can, you know, who are accepting new people, or maybe are a better fit. Right.
Oh, I love that. You know, that's amazing. Thank you. I didn't know that. So guys, you can book online directly for a 15-minute consultation, and then you can determine there. I definitely if you watch her videos, Colleen has some amazing videos done by Artist Productions. Okay.
Hey,
okay. Artist Touch, okay. So I absolutely love your videos, and just kind of walk me through like the process, so the actual process. So now I booked, we did our 15 minutes, you're the right fit, I like talking to you, what's next? So kind of explain to people who haven't had a session with a psychotherapist kind of how that looks like.
Okay. So next they would get a intake form, and so the intake form asks them, you know, about a little bit of family of origin history. We're gonna assess around some, you know, history around trauma. We ask questions about history of the main concern that they're bringing in, and of course I want to know what the outcomes they're looking for are. Those are just a few of the many questions that I ask you. And then, you know, they book their initial appointment, and together we kind of collaboratively come up with a therapeutic plan. And then our work moving forward is going to sort of be around the goal that they have set for themselves. I want clients to feel empowered in terms of knowing how to access solutions for their issues, and you know, what that looks like is going to be unique to each person. They'll always get homework, because the work we do together for an hour is great, but the difference, right, the lasting change that we affect in our lives happens in between the sessions, right? It's you taking the work and putting it into It's
Action.
action. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a quick synopsis of what work with myself can look like.
So everybody, I'm going to assume that everybody has different paths. So some people might need X amount of sessions, someone else might need a longer term, but ultimately what you're saying is that you're trying to assist your clients in having self resolution, kind of being able to help themselves eventually. So you're helping them to navigate those feelings and to
Yeah.
understand them so that now you understand them, you can recognize them. Once you recognize them, you know how to address them.
You got it.
There we
You
go,
got it.
guys.
You've got it. You've got it.
I
Yeah.
changed therapy for many years. That it changes a whole lot. So, Colleen, thank you so very much. Everyone, I'm sorry, I'm so deep into my conversation. I get to respond, but a lot of great feedback. A lot of people saying that they are glad they joined. They learned so much. I learned so much. So, self-regulation, yes, it's essentially what you're teaching, your clients is to self-regulate. I see someone, Maya's World, had mentioned that. So thank you so much, Colleen. Can you tell everyone where they can find you online?
So my website is my name, ColleenBlakeMiller.com. You can find me, follow me on IG. That's mostly where I hang out. As far as working together, I do psychotherapy, as well as I have sort of branched out into the coaching realm. I have a wellness village, a membership group that I run quarterly. There's many, many different ways. Thanks for posting that. To many different ways that folks can connect with me. Just send me a DM. I'd love to stay connected.
One other thing, you mentioned virtual. So do you do virtual only, or are you doing virtual and in person?
Virtual and in person. Yeah.
Amazing. There you go, guys. So you have so many options. I know that in person worked a lot better for me. But then because of COVID, you had no other choice. But depending on who your psychotherapist is, you can definitely still have that connection over the phone. So guys, lots of different options. Colleen, it's been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your knowledge. I think a lot of everyone on here has been seeing a lot of amazing things. The feed can be found online on her website. And there's, again, a 15-minute consultation. So, guys, if you are just joining us a little bit late, this is Colleen Blake Miller. She's a registered psychotherapist. She can assist you with any issues with self-worth or depression or anxiety and help you to navigate those feelings. So, Colleen, thank you so very much, guys.
Thank you for having me, Sue.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been amazing. I'm really glad I got to chat with you. I will probably be booking a session with you. Um, guys, even if you don't feel like you're having any issues, it's always good just to have someone to speak to, someone's platonic to kind of help you just kind of get through your day. Sometimes you're just exhausted. Having a therapist doesn't mean you have to speak to one every single day. That gets quite expensive. But even just to have a maintenance, a checkpoint, so sometimes it kind of helps to keep you balanced even before any issues happen, because typically people wait till things happen for them to react to it. But I noticed that it's actually good just kind of have maintain an ongoing relationship. So thank you so much. There's one question. Let me see here. How long is a typical session? Maya's Book World. Someone was asking how long is a typical session?
1 hour. 1 hour.
1 hour. Okay, there we go. Okay, you can book more hours, I'm pretty sure. But it's kind of space them out. All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you everyone for joining me. The replay will be posted on YouTube within 48 hours. Sometimes have to edit. So thank you so much. You can go to my YouTube at Sue Knows Business, and you can take a look at it there. You can find Colleen online on Instagram. I'm going to post it, and you'll be able to see all her tags. Thank you so very much, everyone. Have yourself a wonderful night.
Night.
Bye.